Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have a brand new show for you. This is episode number 1 of the New England OCR Expo podcast with your host, Rob Foster. And today we have co-host Steve Bacon. Welcome, Steve.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great, thank you. So we want to keep these episodes short and sweet, under 30 minutes. So we're just going to dive right in. Steve, why don't you give us some background on yourself and how the OCR Expo came to life?
All right, so I was born and raised in Rhode Island. Graduated high school and took off for the military. Spent 25 years in the Air Force, retired. I wanted to do something just as much fun, but much safer for a second career. So now I'm a firefighter. I discovered OCR around 2018. My first race was Boulder Dash, Color Me Bold, out there in Exeter, and had a lot of fun. Thought it was a blast. Like, this thing is cool because I'm not a big runner, so the idea of doing some running and then an obstacle and then some running and an obstacle, all right, that sounded really cool. And then I went with some friends and we just had an absolute blast. And that was my start into the OCR world. It wasn't long after that I did my first Spartan. And then really started getting connected with the community. That was one of the first things that grabs you, is the community and how awesome everybody is, how helpful and supportive everybody is. Just a lot of fun. It really makes a big difference in the whole experience. So at some point around 2018, we have cold, hard winters here. There's no races. And I wanted to do something to kind of keep the community connected during the off season. I mean, there's always little circles of friends that stay connected, but I wanted to bring the bigger community together. So I founded a group on Facebook called the Rhode Island Obstacle Course Racers. And it quickly grew to a couple hundred people. And then my next idea after that was I want to get these people together during the off season and have some kind of fun off season gathering, party, something. So that was the initial thought of the expo. The following year, Warrior Dash went out of business, and that sucked because Warrior Dash I thought it was a lot of fun, just a fun, not super serious, just a fun race. And I remember reading an article in the Mud Run Guide online that talked about what the demise of Warrior Dash meant for OCR. And one of the big things I took out of that was we should make sure we're supporting our local and regional races as well as the big ones. So that turned my idea for an off-season get-together party into we're going to do something that's also going to support our local races, create some buzz, create some excitement, bring everybody together. And the first New England OCR Expo was born. It happened in 2020 at a small country club in Cranston. And we had 25 vendors and sponsors. It was literally just a trade show and a party. That's all it was at the time. Beautiful setting. We had Lynn Hall from Boulder Dash was there. We had representatives from Fit Challenge there. Unfortunately, Fit Challenge is not around anymore. But mostly we had the community all together in one heck of a good time. We managed to raise some money out of it. It's not for a profit event, so that was important to us. But we did manage to raise some money. We donated that to Find Your Bold, which is a group that helps disabled people with any kind of Down syndrome or PTSD experience OCR, because we feel like OCR is for everybody. So that was the first one. Then COVID hit. Like literally a week or two later, the world shut down for COVID. So we had a little delay in getting back on our feet. But once we did get back on our feet to bring the OCR Expo back for round 2, we had a lot more attention, a lot more support. So that was last year, 2023, much bigger. We were at Kirkbrae Country Club. We had Spartan got involved and gave us tons of support and swag and races to give. We had Boulder Dash involved. Again, of course, Bone Frog had just come under new ownership, so we got them involved. again, 20, 25, some vendors and sponsors. So it was still just a party and a trade show. But still, it was bigger, better, more people, more sponsors and vendors, and it was just pretty fun. So now that leads us to this year, where we're taking another giant leap. Not only are we going to have the traditional expo, festival, and trade show, vendors, sponsors, giveaways, we're also going to have a Deca Strong competition going on. It's kind of the OCR World's favorite off-course competition. And we're also going to have a preview of the 100-meter course for the Olympics. So big jump. It's being held at Ultimate Obstacles in West Boylston, Mass. So that's beginning to end in 5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
Where we are now.
coincidentally, my first race was also Boulder Dash, but it was the mud run in 2011, the inaugural season. And my main motivation for doing it was because I had a major knee injury. And I was told I would never run or jump again. So like once I got strength back into that knee, I was like, you know what? Let me do this. And I had just gotten into training back in 2009, the same year I had the knee injury. But anyway, so I saw that the race was local, and some of my gym clients wanted to do it with me as well. And full transparency, halfway through that race, I was like, I'm never doing this again. Because like you, I'm not a fan of the running, and going up and down the ski slopes was frying my leg. But like you were saying too about the community, the community there at that race was what was insane. Like at the time, I hadn't seen anything like that before. And so at the end of the race, once I was done licking my wounds from being undertrained, I was like, you know what? I just have to train harder for this. And all right, let's find the next one. And then 2 weeks later, there was a Rugged Maniac. And so I got a little bigger group together, and we did the Rugged Maniac. And we had so much fun at that race. And everyone's like, when is the next one? And at that point, that was the last one of the season. Like Spartan hadn't gotten as big as it is now yet. But like we just couldn't wait for the next season. And then we tacked on Tough Mudder, and then we went to a race that's no longer around, Battle Frog. And we just started doing everything that came around. And it's one of those things that where like when you're doing the race, especially the longer ones, yes, there are parts of the race where it's not fun, but it's that camaraderie that gets you through it. Seeing people out there, like you mentioned, people with disabilities. You see people out there on crutches. You see people getting pulled through in wheelchairs, and you just see what people are willing to push through. And I always say, if people focused in their everyday life the way they do at these races, it's like no one would struggle, because you see people limping, you see people cramping up, and they're like, no, I'm not going to quit. And I love being around that atmosphere and around that energy of people that just want to get stuff done. So, as you were saying about the expo, it was disrespectful that you didn't mention the great MC you had for those two events. I'm just throwing that out there. Your boy rocked the house. I couldn't even get a mention. Right? So anyways, but
I'm not a professional podcast guest.
But hosting that first event, because again, it was brand new and we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know how many people were going to show up, but it was so much fun. We had well over 120 people there. We had challenges, vendors had giveaways, the food was great. Like there was just so much positivity in that room and so much fun, and just, people sharing stories. We had speakers, and it turned into something really, really great. And we were already planning for next year. Now, this was on March 1st of 2020. And I think it was like March 15th or 16th or something like that when the whole world went to hell. And so we came back next year with a vengeance, bigger venue, more people, more vendors, more challenges. As you mentioned, some of the bigger races got involved, and it was just really a great event. And I really can't wait for this year's event, because it's going to be even bigger and even better. And you can go into more detail about that.
Yeah. So like I said, we've caught so much attention, and I've received so much support from a wider and bigger range of supporters and sponsors that we're growing beyond what I ever imagined, and that's awesome. So this year, you mentioned the challenges. Each of the last two expos, a lot of the gyms that had tables had some kind of physical challenge that was really awesome, and it really drew people in, and people were having fun and competing. And that's kind of what the community does anyway, compete for fun. And so we kind of took that a step higher. First, we're ditching the country club. That was a lot of fun twice, but we're moving up and bigger. So Ultimate Obstacles in West Boylston, Mass. I approached Eric Matta, the owner, with the idea, and he absolutely loved it. He's a racer himself. He's done the death race several times. So I approached it with the idea we had, and he was absolutely all for it. So within his space, we're kind of bringing a couple worlds together, actually. So Ultimate Obstacles, it is more of a ninja gym, but they have tons and tons of space. So we're going to have the Deca Strong going on, the traditional expo festival with all the bells and whistles of that going on. And also, for those who don't know, OCR is going to be part of the Olympics starting in 2028. So there is a Olympic 100-meter course that we are going to have a full-scale preview. And I call it a preview because by the specs, it has to be 100 meters straight. So what Ultimate Obstacles can accomplish is a 50-meter aisle up and then turn around another 50-meter lane coming back. So it won't be a true full-spec course, but it's going to be damn close. Just the only difference is that turn. So that kind of brings the ninja crowd in. And like I said, we're going to have the Deca. It's just, and the biggest thing I was shocked with, Spartan, I work with Dan McDonald, the chief of staff of Spartan, an amazing, amazing human being, community-oriented, all brands of OCR oriented. Is every single person who comes to the expo is getting a free Spartan race for Barrie, Mass, the New England event weekend, which is just insane. So brings people in, gives them something. They're going to meet all the races. We have Boulder Dash race, Bone Frog, Sandra Sawyer's coming, Lynn Hall of Boulder Dash will be there. We've got the Natticook Challenge race as a small race that's going to be there. We've got Obstacle Wonderland in New York and Viking Obstacle Race in New York. It's outside New England, but I mean, we're all about, bringing people together. Just, it's close. Tough Mudder. Yeah. We excel at putting the small races on the same stage as the big ones, and promoting them all.
So you mentioned the Deca races. For the people that don't know, can you go into more detail as to what those are?
The best way I would describe it is an obstacle race, not on an obstacle course. So it is a series of challenges. There's 10 stations. There's a weighted ball over the shoulders. There's a ski machine. There's the air bike. There's a rower. There's a fireman's carry. There's burpees. Can't have it without burpees. weighted burpees.
Let's say ram burpees.
Yeah. There's the tank, the push and pull. So it's the closest thing you can get to the obstacle course experience without being on an obstacle course. And for a place, especially up here where we have, again, cold, hard winters, and there's no races anywhere close for, good 4 or 5 months, it's a great fallback. It's a great fun thing to do during the off season and even during the season between races. It's just a lot of fun. You get that same kind of the events I've been to in Rhode Island. It Starts Here Fitness is a Deca affiliate, and they host a lot of events. It's the closest thing that feels like all the people, the community, the same feeling as you get on an obstacle course.
And what's the difference between the different styles?
So there's the Deca Strong, which is literally just the 10 stations. You do one station onto the next, and so forth. The Deca Mile is the same 10 stations, but you're doing laps, some kind of running in between the stations that accumulates a mile. And then there's the Deca Fit, which is the same thing as a mile, but the running accumulates to a 5K.
Yeah, I believe it's 500 meters in that one. Like each run is 500 meters, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. That
Yeah.
sounds about right.
And just like on an obstacle course race, you get the medal, the T-shirt, all the same bells and whistles. So it's a lot of fun, and
Awesome.
it's
Yeah.
also another great entry for people who've never done an obstacle race, but they maybe go to a gym and they're real active with their gym and they want to try a DECA event. That could be their stepping stone into OCR.
All right. And want to talk about this Saturday's comedy show?
Yeah. So again, New England OCR Expo, we're a nonprofit. We don't do anything to make money. We're recognized nonprofit Rhode Island. We're pending nonprofit federally. But that being said, we do raise money so we can have these big events to bring everybody together and give back. And to do that, we are having a comedy show this Saturday. Warwick Knights of Columbus in Warwick, Rhode Island. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 7. It's called Buck Furpies. We've had a pretty fun series of promo videos still going on. I've got one more to put out. But it's going to be a comedy show, an adult comedy show. There's going to be door prizes, raffles, a cash bar. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Sounds like it. And what do people get for attending?
Oh, so anybody who comes and buys a ticket to the expo gets also a Spartan race at the New England Spartan Event Weekend, Barrie, August 17th and 18th. So again, Spartan is a huge supporter of everything we're doing. They know what we're doing, that we're putting all OCR on the stage, promoting all brands, all races, and to do that, to help us do that, they're giving us a lot of support. So you come to the comedy show, you get a free Barrie race. You come to the expo, you get a free Barrie race, and between the two of them, you're racing Barrie either both days for free, or maybe you can only do one day. You bring a friend. It's all about growing the base.
Love it. And that's a savings of what, like 150, something like that?
Oh yeah, each ticket. Yeah. So if you come to the comedy show and the ticket for that is $20, you're going to enjoy a really fun comedy show. It's a fundraiser. You might win a prize, but you're also, just for walking in the door, you're going to receive a free race worth over $120, $130. It's, yeah.
If you have the night off, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It really is. Obviously,
Yeah.
people who are working, that's one thing. But if you have the night off and you don't attend this thing, and if you're into obstacle racing, like, it's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah. Again, it's all about community building. What do we love about the community? Not just the race, but the festival afterward. We're hanging out. There's things to see and do. There's food. There's you get your little ticket for your drink. Again, it's events we're creating to bring the community together and celebrate.
Awesome. All right, let's do a little plug here real quick. So this video, but the show is sponsored today by Manic Training. There's 2 locations, one in East Greenwich and one in Wakefield, where we do group fitness training, personal training, athletic conditioning, and kickboxing as well. So we give a free week, so you can head to manictrainingri.com. And it's also hosting this show as well, as we are live in the gym right now. So again, that's manictrainingri.com. All right, so you want to get into your raffle?
Raffle?
Your giveaway, I should say.
Oh, today?
Yes.
Or
do you want to do that at the very end?
Yeah, I gotta find the name. I wasn't ready for that one. But either way, that's got to be a separate video. All right. So currently, in case anybody's wondering what we're talking about, we are in the middle of a week's worth of daily giveaways. So anybody who's bought a ticket to the comedy show are in the bucket. My little can't see it. If you bought a ticket to the comedy show, you're in the bucket. If you bought a ticket to the expo, you're in the bucket. And again, both events, you're already getting a free race and all this other cool stuff. But now we're also giving away daily prizes. So, yeah, I think we need to shoot that separate because I got to that's going to be posted separate. But stay tuned. If you haven't bought your ticket yet and you're watching this, get your ticket, because we've given away so far. Boulder Dash is giving away some swag. Give Peanut Butter, one of our sponsors, give away some of their product. We've given a bunch of races away already. Bone Frog has given us some cool stuff to give away.
All right.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who's intrigued with obstacle racing, but they're afraid to try?
Based on what you see and hear out there, it sometimes may seem like to do an obstacle race, you have to be big, strong, fast. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Literally 1% of those who do an obstacle race, 1% are the elites. They're competing for prizes, cash. The next roughly 9% or so are the age group, also competing, but by age group instead of the elites. The other 90% of those who do obstacle races is literally the fun runners, the open wave fun runners, and that's where I am. I'm a fun runner. It doesn't matter if you are big, small, skinny, fat, if you got any kind of whatever. If you got to walk the course, you walk the course. If you can't do all the obstacles, you can't do all the obstacles. Try, can't do it, move on. It's just a fun experience. Literally anybody can do it. Even those with some kind of unique challenges, there's groups out there like Oscar Mike. Oscar Mike is a big one, and Operation Enduring Warrior. These are both veteran-run nonprofits that bring, in this case, veterans with PTSD, one leg, no legs, whatever, out onto the course just to experience it. And there are other groups like Find Your Bold that also brings people out with all kinds of challenges that may otherwise prevent them from getting out there. So it literally is for everyone. And if all you do is go out there and hike your way through a course and do some obstacles and laugh and have fun along the way, that's literally what it's all about for a lot of people. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I just want to double down on that, because obviously running a gym, we have a lot of people here, all shapes and sizes, abilities, and I've probably taken well over 500 people through obstacle races. And has there been a couple injuries? There has, but 98% of people, maybe even 99, get through them unscathed. And the thing is that it expands their own belief in themselves, because especially with the longer hilly races, the mountainous races, because there are points in these things where people question their very existence. But then when they cross that finish line, it's like no other. Like the one ultra that well, actually technically I did 2 ultras, but I failed the first one. But I failed that first one, and that hurt my soul. Being a competitor, like, it hurt my soul, and I was like, I have to do another one. And so I ended up completing one down in South Carolina, which it was hilly, but it wasn't on a mountain, so it was more favorable to my knees. Because the one in New Jersey, like that second lap, it just wasn't happening. Like, my knees were absolutely shot. And that was the first year, 2018, when they went to the heavier sandbags. So that second sandbag carry killed my legs. And so anyways, but like it fuels you inside. So if you do that first race and it doesn't go well, that just means train harder and come back again. Like, I'm going back to what I was saying about that first Boulder Dash. It's like, yeah, halfway through, I was like, never again. But then I was like, no, like, I have to get better. Like, I have to train. I got to work on my grip strength. I got to work on doing hills more. And it completely transformed the way I train in my fitness classes. Like the way that we train now, conditions people for absolutely anything. Literally for anything. It doesn't matter if you're a marathon runner, doesn't matter if you're fresh off the couch. Like, it doesn't matter if you play sports. Like, our style of training will get you literally ready for life. That's Manic's tagline, and it's spot on, because it really does. It gets you ready to handle anything that life throws at you. And like, if you're going through a beast or an ultra or something that really takes the mental fortitude to get through, because it's really not the physical, it's the mental fortitude. Because I remember at mile 17 of that ultra, I remember contemplating, I'm like, do I really need that buckle? Because my legs were shot. They were absolutely shot. And I willed my way through the rest of that race. And when you cross that finish line, yes, initially you're like, I want to eat. Like, I want to eat an entire cow right now. It's like you're just hungry. But then once you start reflecting on that race, and it's like, I got through that. You know how many times in my head it's like I can walk away right now with a clear conscience because like you're just hurting, your feet hurt, your hips hurt, but like the feeling of accomplishment when you cross that finish line is like no other. So again, so for the
Yep.
people watching live, if you've never done one and if you're on the fence, I always tell people sign up because signing up makes it real, right? Sign up, and then that's going to force you to train harder and then get out there on that course and then fight like hell to reach that finish line.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention, another belief I want to smash is a lot of people who've never done one think they're only on mountains and they're all 20 miles long. There are plenty that are not on mountains. There are short ones, like most of them are about 5K, 3 miles. There's one at Fenway Park every year. Fenway Park, there's a Spartan Stadium race, and it is just so much fun. There's no mud, there's no water. You're doing a lot of stairs, but it's fun. You're through every section of the bleachers. You're up on the Green Monster. You're in the clubhouse. You're through the tunnel, into the dugout, on the field. It's amazing. So that, yeah, they're not all, 10, 20 miles on a mountain. I can see where that would intimidate a lot of people, but there are plenty of fun ones, short, not so hilly, to come out and try. But like you said, you'll know at the finish line, and you absolutely do. It is an incredible feeling.
It's so true. Yeah, and again, just getting back to you don't have to run the whole thing. Like, especially depending on my knees. Sometimes I have really good knee days where I get out there and I can run most of the course. But I've walked probably over half of the races that I've done. Granted, my walk pace is the average person's jog pace, so like I still finish these races pretty quickly, but it took time to build up to that. Like I failed a lot of obstacles in the beginning until I figured them out. So like if you get up to the monkey bars and you fall off, like that just means you just have to keep working at it. And that's why doing more and more of these races, you get more proficient at the obstacles. Like people watch me do them now and they're like, oh my God, that was awesome. I said, yeah, but I had to build up to that awesome. Like the first time Twister debuted, I fell off multiple times before I finally figured it out. And now I can do it in my sleep. But it takes time. Like you have to allow yourself the time to get good at the obstacles. And you don't know if you're going to be good at them until you sign up and try them. Because you'll be surprised how many people, actually, you mentioned Fenway, one of our guys here, Matt, that was one of the obstacles where he was like, there's no way I'm getting he said, his fat butt across those monkey bars. And guess what? He got himself across the monkey bars. There was one of the women that was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to climb the rope. Guess what happened? She climbed the rope. So it's like we put these limitations on ourselves. And when we can drop those limitations, and how do you drop them? You got to sign up, you got to show up, and you got to give it a try. So we got a couple minutes left, so let's add some final words. But first, Joe had a question. If you just want to explain this again.
Hey, what's up, Joe? So yeah, that's an update as of about 4 or 5 days ago. Not only does everybody coming to the expo on April 20th at Ultimate Obstacles get a free race, everybody who comes to the Buck Furpy's comedy show this Saturday also gets a free race for Barry. So $20 for the comedy show, free race, $30 or more for the expo. And I say or more because there's other options, like you want to do the DECA or don't want to do the DECA, or you want to do the 100-meter course or not. There's options. So, but the cheapest is 30. So $20, $30, and you get 2 free races. It's
a no-brainer.
Yeah, it is. And another thing I want to add in, talking about drawing in new people. It's all about growing the base. Usually, Dawn and I, my fiance, we pick a race every year, and I call it our friends and family race. And we've brought friends and family to try it out. And our promise is we will go through it together. We will walk if we need to. We don't care. We're just going to have fun and laugh and make it a fun experience. So August 18th, we're doing that. That's the second day of Barry.
That's my 50th birthday.
The sprint. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You'll probably be flying by us on the course. But anybody who's out there who wants to try one, doesn't have a buddy to go with, or whatever, they can come with us. They can sign up under the New England OCR Expo is our team name in the Spartan database. So that offers out there anybody who wants to try it, doesn't want to go alone. It's always fun, more fun with friends.
All right. Well, that is our time for today. So this is episode 1. We're going to be doing this every week. When we do it might vary, and we'll see if we can kind of hammer down the time. But a day in a time. But for now, we're just going to do it when we can. So those of you that tuned in live, thank you for tuning in. Steve, thank you for being here and dropping the knowledge. And his name is Steve too. Yeah, for dropping the knowledge. And we will be back next week. All right. Have a great day, y'all.
See you Saturday.